Welcome to our Wednesday call every single Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we talk about everything Medicare related. So this time of year in December, after annual enrollment period ends, a lot of agents, Medicare agents, they get lazy. They don't want to do stuff, right? They're ready to go on a vacation and not come back until next AEP, right? They're going to take a nice 10-month sabbatical. They're done. Enjoy it. So that's not true for us and our organization. What we do, we are actually agents that sell all year round. And that's a big thing, but you have to understand how to do that and how to compliantly sell these products all year round. Since we're life insurance agents first, most of the time, right, we're able to compliantly market to our clients with Medicare products. And we also have Medicare leads that we go and enables us to get in front of clients. And most of the time throughout the year, we're able to get Medicare leads for 50% discount for our agents as well. So that's a huge thing, especially as we're going into the next portion of the year, which is what I wanted to talk about, open enrollment period. So we're going to start off with that, with what open enrollment period is and how it works. So open enrollment period and annual enrollment period are no longer a synonymous term, right? They used to be just one thing. It was, hey, this is open enrollment, annual enrollment period, AEP, OEP. It was the same thing. About 3 years ago, there was no OEP. It didn't exist, January 1st through March 31st. They had it, then they got rid of it, then they brought it back. And the intention of it is to basically help seniors that might have got ripped off during AEP and not put in a good plan, and they don't have any SEPs to change from one or the other. So that's obviously a great thing for the clients. We want to make sure the clients are always in the best situation. Sometimes you guys know it. You see someone, you talk to them, you sit down with them, you put them in a great plan, and then someone calls them over the phone saying that they're from Medicare or something like that and puts them in a terrible situation. And that's an issue. So we don't want them to be stuck with that. Okay. So what do I do? And how am I able to do a couple different things with our clients, and what do we do during open enrollment period to make that change? When does it start? So, and also keep in mind that this is a super important note here. Open enrollment period for Medicare Advantage plans has nothing to do with open enrollment period for Medicare supplement plans. Two different things. Open enrollment period for Medicare supplement plans is a 6-month window. So that's it. Right, you get 6 months and then that's it. Okay. It's got nothing to do with Medicare Advantage open enrollment period. Open enrollment period with Medicare Advantage is from January 1st through March 31st. A client that is in an existing MA plan, they have to have an MA plan. They can't be an original Medicare or a Part D plan. Can't be in that. They have to have an existing Medicare Advantage plan. Can change from one Medicare Advantage plan to another, and they get a one-time OEP code to make that change. That's what open enrollment period is. The rules have changed with it over the years. It used to be only if you made a change during AEP. Now the rule is if you have a plan, you can make a change. Okay. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you can make a change. So if you have original Medicare, if you have a Part D plan, if you got a Med Sup, that you can't do a change for a Medicare Advantage plan using that election period. Okay. It's got to be something else. So that's really important for you to know. So that's what OEP is, and that's how OEP works. All right. Let me get into the next portion of our notes here. Okay. So another thing that I sent out as well that I like to do towards the end of the year is I like to do some reflection. I like to do some introspection, to look internally and say, hey, where am I at with myself personally, mentally, physically? Am I where I want to be? Is my family life, my personal life, is that where I want it to be with my wife, my relationship with my son? Is that where I want it to be? We got one more baby due March 22nd, right? Are we prepared for that mentally, right? Financially, am I where I want to be at the end of the year? So doing that type of look into yourself 12 months later from January last year or from December last year, when you're reflecting upon it, I like to say, hey, where am I at? And then also, of course, I like to translate that to my business. So I have my personal and then my business. And what I do every single year is I need to have goals. I need to have some type of target that I can hit, right? And hopefully surpass. So I have to set myself a goal. And the best way to do that is what I sent out in the email. So some people replied to it and sent it back to me, which was awesome. And I gave everyone in that email, I gave them the first step. I said, hey, here's the first step that I need you to do. So I'm going to read off the first step to you. Okay. And then for those who sent it in, you already know the second step. So the first step I said with goals is I want you to take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals and today's date, right? The date that you're doing. Then write down 10 goals you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Write them down in the present tense. Okay. I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive, I own. Okay. In that. And then when you have this list of 10, I want you to say to yourself, right? If I had a magic wand and I can make any one of these 10 goals come true tomorrow, which one of those 10 would have the most positive impact on your life? That's the one that should jump off the page and jump off that piece of paper to you. And then as soon as you see that one of those 10, circle that one. And as soon as you circle it, I want you to then take that goal and transfer that to a clean sheet of paper. Okay. And then you follow the next steps. Step 1, write it down. Step 2, set a deadline. Step 3, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish that goal. Organize the list into a checklist, take action, then do something every day towards that goal and accomplishing it. Check off your checklist, right? So that is the email I'd sent on out for what I do, right? So I got my goals, I wrote them down, and then I know which one of my goals, right? So my goal in 12 months, I started training jujitsu, is have a blue belt in jujitsu. And 12 months is a very short period of time to do that. And I started 6 weeks ago, right? Hey, have this in assets. Maybe it's a car you want to drive. Maybe it's, I want to have, for myself personally, I want to have $200,000 every single month of renewal-based income rolling in. I will have to work like a dog to get that. And it might be multiple sources of income in order to do that. But if I could have $200,000 a month coming in net, that would be amazing. I think I could become pretty dang close to that goal in a 12-month period of time, right? So we got to look at that and say, hey, where are you right now? Really get something that's realistic, right? For some people, that's not, if you're only making $8,000, $10,000 a month, 200,000, it's a pretty unrealistic goal. So do something that you think you can pretty much get close to, right? Have 300 Medicare agents, blue belt in jiu-jitsu, own 10 rental properties, own 100 Rolexes, have $500,000 in Medicare renewals, own 10 businesses, have $200,000 in net monthly income. It's like, okay, well, which one of those is going to have the most positive impact on me that can get me to all those other goals? It's the money, right? So for me, it's the money in my business. So that's the one I'm going to circle. And that's the one that jumps off the page to me. And then I take that to the next level. And then I follow those steps, right? So the steps I transferred to the clean sheet of paper is I write it down. I set a deadline of when I'm going to hit it. December 31st next year. Make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it. Organize that list into a checklist. Take action. Then do something every day. New Year's resolutions. How many of y'all see people with New Year's resolutions that don't do anything? New year, new me. No, it's not. It's the same you. It's going to be the same you by February, probably. Right? You ain't going to change. You're going to sign. Gyms love January. I'm going to get in shape this year. Sure you are. You ain't going to do it. That's the reality. I don't have time. You only have time for things that you put value on in your life, right? Health, there's nothing more important than health, not money. Chase money your whole life, then you're going to use the money to get your health back, and you can never get your health back. Well, as you see with some of our clients, they can't. So do that. Okay. Goals. Focus on it. And this is recorded, so you'll have it, and I'll send out the link to it as well. Okay. Next. Let's get into post AEP. Okay. So post AEP, what we need to do is we need to have our, this goals is done. We need to have all of our clients. We need to have them all printed out on your lists. So you should have, you got 100 clients, couple hundred clients, whatever it is, print them out, 7 pages, 8 pages. If it's 2 pages, I don't care. I need you to have all of your clients printed out in a spreadsheet of sorts, right? Which you download the Excel files generally from the carrier websites. First name, last name, phone number, address, city, state, zip code, county, current carrier, new carrier, if they made a change, yes or no, and then sort it that way. And then any other information you need on them. And I need you to be tracking your business. So you're going to be looking at those commissions. Did anyone change? What about your existing book of business? That's a big thing. For example, with United Healthcare, you can go in there, and Humana, you can go in there and you can see which clients are no longer with you. It'll say commission action, right? You just download the Excel file, or you could download the PDF with them, or in Humana's website, you can literally go to inactive. It'll say active policies and inactive policies. So you just look at those ones, recently inactive, and you just see who is inactive and why. Okay, well, I'm looking at my list, and what I did is I can't show you the names, but what I did is I just took a highlighter and I went through it on this page, and I saw all the people that I was able to help put them in another plan that was better for them based on their situation for 2023. And then, and I highlighted them all in green, all the ones that were green, right? And then what I did is I went with orange or red, whatever color is a bad color, red. I went there and I highlighted all the ones that are not clients that I made a change to. But it shows on United Healthcare's website or whatever it is, recently inactive, it'll say enrollment in another plan or member termination, right? So I see that. And what I do is that's how I'm able to track those people. I need to figure out what happened, right? So, did they die? It'll literally say term reason, we'll say death. Enrollment in another plan, member termination, it'll say something to that effect. So we need to make sure that we're tracking our book of business, like I always tell everyone to do, is like, hey, stay on top of that stuff. And if you're submitting applications now, see if make sure that they're getting approved, because you put them in, you use the wrong election period, the wrong SEP. Well, then you're going to have to wait until January 1st to use OEP. And then what'll happen is you will lose, $25 depending on your state, right? $25 to $35 depending on your state in commission. Okay, not going to kill you. You still get the health assessment. That's all fine. So you're still going to make money there. So make sure that you're tracking that business and you're reaching out to your clients. You're staying in touch with them. I organized all of my clients. I got hundreds of clients on the Medicare side. I organized them all in here, and I stay in touch with all of them. I just spoke to one of my clients today, and her husband, why did he not have the plan anymore? I'm like looking at it like, what's going on? Linda, what's going on? What had happened? She's like, oh, well, because he went into the nursing home, he has original Medicare and he has Medicaid. So they did not want him to have, or not nursing homes, like skilled nursing facility. They didn't want him to have the Medicare Advantage plan. But as soon as he gets out, if he gets out, so I think he's going to end up going into hospice, then he can get it back. So it's just billing issue and dealing with the headaches sometimes of authorization from the insurance company. They'd rather just deal with straight up Medicare. So they told him to opt out of it. Okay, that's fine, right? So that's the reason why. All right, check it off my list. I spoke to that client. Now I'm moving on to the next one. So I'm looking down my list and I'm looking at it, seeing, okay, which person do I need to talk to and figure out? Or maybe sometimes, and this happens all the time, sometimes a client is changed and you're not their agent anymore, and you call them, hey, because you might be their health agent and their life agent, hospital indemnity agent. Hey, it's holding the insurance, man. I just want to let you know, because I don't know if you know this, but someone changed you from United Healthcare, or someone changed you from Humana. And then sometimes when I talk to people, they're like shocked. They're like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? Someone changed me? Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. It says enrollment in another plan, member termination, right? Someone had changed your plan. Are you aware of this? Because we're dealing with the senior market. So a lot of times what you guys have to realize is with the senior market, they can be taken advantage of, and they just don't know what they don't know. It's not their fault, but it's our job and our responsibility to make sure that we help put these people in the best situation. And if there is an issue, we need to help resolve it, because sometimes someone gets a hold of their information, gets their red, white, and blue card, and they wait till December 7th to submit an application, the last person in, and they put them in a plan that's not in their best interest, and they don't even know. So that's something that I think you guys should definitely be paying attention to for sure. Okay. So make sure you're doing that. It's just under inactive policies in United Healthcare. You can pull your commission statements, see which clients terminated, show like a chargeback or something. Or if you have renewals, you can see which clients are no longer renewing. So you just pull your monthly statement, for example. So with United Healthcare, we just had our renewals statement hit on it was probably Monday. So it hit this week, and I would compare it to November last month. Okay, who did I lose? Right? Why did I lose them? But you can also just look at inactive policies. You just sort through it on their website. All right. So with that said, what's next? So does anyone have any questions on that? Because I know that's a very, very important thing. And does anyone have any questions on OEP for open enrollment period and what we'll be doing at that point in time? Cool. All right. So let me go to the next thing over here. All right. So we have our SEPs. I'm going to move this tab over here and I will go to special enrollment periods. So this time of year, we have SEPs, which are our special enrollment periods. I sent out an email. So you guys need to know, between this point in time, what election periods can I use to enroll a client in a plan? Okay. And even during open enrollment period, and this is going to be applicable to open enrollment period. So AEP, and then let's say, for example, you get into open enrollment period, January 1st through March 31st, and someone's already used their OEP election period. But someone put them in a bad plan and they want to go back to the other one, but it's already been effective, so they can't cancel. What do they do? Okay, that's a good question. One, tell their client to file a complaint because you're their agent and someone, put them in a bad situation. They should probably do that. So that'll help you as well as get bad agents out of the business. So between December 8th and I would say, for the rest of the year, this is going to be applicable as well. But let's just say after AEP until December 31st. So let me actually screen share so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Screen share one. Okay, this is the email that I sent you guys. Initial enrollment periods and other new to Medicare situations. So I'm new to Medicare, so someone that's turning 65. I already have Part A and recently signed up for Medical Part B. I want to join a Medicare Advantage plan. So that's gaining Part B. I'm new to Medicare and I was notified about getting Medicare after my Part A and or Part B coverage started. So I'm new to Medicare and I was notified about getting Medicare after my Part A and Part B started. I had Medicare prior to now, but I'm now turning 65. So who is that? That's a client that is disabled for whatever reason. Okay. And that disabled client is someone that was 63 years old. They've been on Medicare, for 2 years, or they've been disabled for greater than 24 months. They're automatically enrolled in Medicare. Now they're turning 65. Now we can go ahead and enroll them in a plan. So that's make sure we're being creative and we understand this stuff and how it works. Okay. So next we go to a special enrollment period. So here's our SEPs that we can use right now. I'm in a Medicare Advantage plan have had Medicare for less than 3 months. I want to make a change. So I'm in a Medicare Advantage plan. So someone already put them in a Medicare Advantage plan. They already used their IEP, their initial election period, their first time enrolling in a plan, and they've had Medicare for less than 3 months and they want to make a change. How cool is that? So someone put them in a plan, they don't like it, I want to go to another one, not a problem. So you can use that SEP. I moved to a new address that's outside my plan's current service area, or I moved and this plan is new, and this plan is a new option for me. So let's say that their plan is currently, they moved from one county to another. So in Texas, we have Dallas County and Collin County. Okay. So County 1 and County 2. Let's say, for example, they moved from County 1 to County 2. In County 2, their existing plan still services that area. But in County 2, there's new plans that aren't in County 1. So if you read the second line, or I've recently moved and this plan is a new option for me. So they moved and boom, there you go. So that's awesome to see. I moved back to the US after living outside of the country. I was released from jail. I recently got lawfully present status in the US. I live in a long-term care facility, like a nursing home or rehab. So that would be a ISNP is the name of those plans, institutionalized, the special needs plan for people that are institutionalized. I really see, or the opposite, instead of going in, going out of a long-term care facility, nursing home, or rehab. All right. You lose or have coverage in or you have a change in your current coverage. So I left my employer, right, including Cobra. So if they left their employer or their Cobra coverage is ending, they can make a change. They can use that SEP. I lost other non-Medicare drug coverage that's as good as Medicare. So they just call it credible coverage, right? And so it's as good or equal to or greater than, right, as Medicare. Or my other non-Medicare coverage change, it is no longer considered credible. So they lost their health insurance. I lost my coverage because Medicare ended its contract with my plan. I got a letter from Medicare saying I could join another plan. I dropped my coverage in a PACE plan. You're not really going to run into PACE plans. I've seen literally one this year. I lost my special needs plan because I no longer have a condition that required for that plan. So they were diabetic. Doctor said, hey, listen, because you followed your diet and your exercise program, you're no longer a diabetic. Those levels are a lot lower. Congratulations, you're doing great. All right, you don't qualify for that chronic. Got to go back to a regular Medicare Advantage plan. I lost my coverage because my plan no longer covers the area that I live, or it ended its contract with Medicare, right? So sometimes, as we know, plans, they're gone. And if clients don't change, hey, good luck. So they need to use that. I recently had to change my Medicaid newly got Medicaid, had a change in my level of Medicaid, or lost Medicaid. Okay, so throughout the year, what we see a lot is the one that I tell you guys, I've said on every single call that you can't use this time of year, beginning October 15th for open enroll, or beginning in October 1st, actually, is we use a change, or not change of status. We use dual/LIS maintaining. I'm maintaining it and I'm making a change. That election period, you can't use. They have to have had a change in status. Okay. So they had to either get Medicaid or lose Medicaid or have a different level of Medicaid, right? Because next year the income levels can change. We're going to go over that too in a second. I recently had a change in my extra help, paying for my drug cost, newly got extra help, and had to change my level of extra help, or lost extra help. Okay. Not a problem. So they had a change in it once again. So change in Medicaid or change in extra help. I was enrolled in a plan by Medicare or my state, and I want to choose a different plan. So if you don't choose a plan, hey, sometimes the states can enroll you in a plan and you're like, oh, whoa. I want to choose a different plan. I don't like this one. I was automatically enrolled. I'm in a state pharmaceutical assistance program, or I'm losing help from the state pharmaceutical assistance program. All right, that's it. No, it's not actually. Jeez, look at it. Look at this. Tell me why we can't sell all year round. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4 here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. 31 right now, reasons why you can change from December 8th to December 31st. Then when it opens up again, there's going to be more than 31 reasons as to why you can change throughout the whole year. I don't know why people stop selling it, because they're not as good as you guys. All right. Other special situations. I dropped a Medicare supplement Medigap policy when I first joined a Medicare Advantage plan. This is called your trial period. So you can try out a Medicare Advantage plan, right? Hey, I'm going to try this Medicare Advantage plan for 12 months. If I don't like it, I'm going back. Or I'm going back to my Medicare supplement plan. So it's a trial period. Okay. I was affected by an emergency that we call this a natural disaster or a major disaster. This is applicable to all of these special election periods, are applicable to all companies. So if you ever see me send you one for a special election period for a natural disaster for your state, and I forward it to you, right? Just because it's coming from Cigna or Aetna or Humana, it's applicable for all of these. All right. I'm in a plan that was recently taken over by the state because of financial issues. I want to switch to another plan. So a company that is dissolving, going out of business, bankruptcy, whatever it might be. I'm in a plan that had a star rating of less than 3 stars Look at that for the last 3 years. But if you look at a lot of plans actually out here, there's some really bad ones, 2.5-star ratings. And I want to join a plan that's higher than 3 stars. I'm rolling in a 5-star Medicare plan. I requested Medicare information in an accessible format. I got less time to make my decision, or I didn't get in time to make a decision or a choice before my enrollment period ended. I lost my Medicare Advantage plan with drug coverage because I lost medical Part B coverage. I want to join a Medicare drug plan. I dropped my cost plan. Once again, you're never going to run into a cost plan. I live in or within the past 2 months moved out of long-term care facility or nursing home or rehab, and I want to join a drug plan. All right, so there's your 31 reasons why you will be selling all year round. All right, so the next topic to go into, this is same thing, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. This is just the PDF version. Okay, so next thing. Does anyone have questions on that real quick? Nope, good to go. All right, cool. All right, so the next thing that I want to go into real quick is the changes that we're having for next year. So every single year we have changes, and the changes are going to be the low income subsidy. So the low income subsidy, also known as LIS, is a program for our clients, okay, whose income is beneath a certain threshold. And with that threshold, they now qualify to have discounts on prescription drugs when they go to the pharmacy. Okay. So last year we had the stats. It was less than 1,500 and or this year, $549, $1,549 in most states. And next year it'll go up. The threshold goes up. They had an 8.7% increase in their COLA, their cost of living adjustment as of January 1st. All of our clients are getting an extra 8.7%. That's a huge amount of money in their Social Security check. And if you ain't telling clients that when they tell you they can't afford something, hey, next month you're getting an extra 8.7%. You got to do the math. You got to take out your calculator and you got to say to them, okay, so you're getting so how much you get a month? $1,586 times 1.087. So your check is now going to be $1,723 a month. It's huge. From whatever number I just said before, 1,586 or 68, something like that. Okay. So, and do that math with them, right? Because you're selling other products. There's always money to be found. You just have to be creative about how you get it. Okay. So now next over here, what I want to look at on this page is the low income subsidy. Our clients are going to ask, I sent this out in an email too, but I want to review it because it's important, is how much, since every single year there's changes, there's a document that's going to come out that hasn't come out yet. And when that one does, it is the Part D/LIS chart, which comes out over here. When that one comes out, I will get it to you guys, and it tells you the exact amount for non-duals to qualify for the plan. And same thing with the other one. It's not out yet, but CMS sent out this memo, which is the same thing as right here. So they sent out their memo. Here you go, from Department of Health and Human Services, from CMS, which is Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Boom, they go ahead and send this on out, and then you guys can read it and look at it and see. But we'll get the threshold for dollar amounts. We're going to get that. Let me ask you a question. Does the government move fast with anything? The answer is never yes. So unless it's getting your money, but if they owe you money, it takes a while. All right. So with that said, the full benefit dual eligible. So if someone's on a full D-SNP plan, right, their generic drug, the most they can pay for a generic drug is $1.45. $4.30 is the most that they can pay for a brand name drug. Okay. Next, if they are just an LIS and they're not full, they're on a regular Medicare Advantage plan, but they qualify for the low income subsidy, but they're not fully dual eligible, they're not a D-SNP client, the most they could pay for a brand name drug is $4.15. I'm sorry, not brand name. Did I say generic drug? Okay. The most they could pay for a brand name drug is $10.35. So what does that mean? All right, let's unpack that. So let's say, for example, you go into a home with a client. You're sitting down with the client, you're talking to them. They're like, yeah, I'm paying $45 a month right now for my insulin. Okay. Geez, that seems pretty expensive. Or $35 is the copay for most insulins with plans, as long as it's covered on the formulary. So we say, okay, great. How much is your monthly income? Let's say, for example, they say $1,400. $1,400. Wow. Okay. Well, the good news is that you qualify for this government program, right? It's called the low income subsidy. And basically the way that it works, Miss Mary, is the government subsidizes your prescription drug costs because of your income. And I know the government doesn't give you a lot. But this is something, right? So at least they're giving you something here. Okay. So this is a huge thing. So the most that you'll pay going forward, as soon as this gets approved, if your insulin is brand name, is $10.35. And that's for all drugs, all brand name drugs. So if you go on a super expensive blood thinner, God forbid, the most you're going to pay is $10.35. Any generic drug, the most you will pay is $4.15. Now, as you know, most generic drugs, tier 1 and tier 2s, are free through the mail anyways, or at select preferred retail pharmacies. Type it into Sunfire to see, right? Boom, that's it. Right. So that's an easy way to help clients and find money. So if that guy's paying $35 per month and you get it down to $10.35, you're now saving him $24.65 a month times 12. You just put $300 in that person's pocket off one drug, not including any of the others that they might be paying above $10 for or above $4 for. So that's a big thing. So keep that in mind. So that's the threshold for our 2023. This is 2023. Was it the memorandum for 2023 or whatever they call it? Okay. So now we'll get this chart and we'll get the LIS chart. We'll get that coming up here in the next, hopefully the next month or so. They release it. I don't know how quick they move or how slow they're going to move. Medicare Savings Program eligibility chart. This is the 2022 one. Once again, also released by NCOA, National Council on Aging is what it stands for. And the Medicare Savings Program, this is directly from Medicare.gov itself. So this will update if it hasn't already. Let's go ahead and let's see. Nope. See, it's still for 2022. Let's scroll down, see if 2023 is in here. No, it is not. I don't see it. Nope. So it has not updated yet for 2023 once again. So I'll keep you guys updated on all that stuff as soon as we get it. And then, like I said, too, I'll reshoot these videos for the ones that it's applicable for, right? So Part C explained, probably not. Part D explained, yes, I'm going to have to because it involves prescription drug cost and how much we're going to also have to go over the Part B premium, stuff like that. So there is changes. We know the Part B premium went down from $170.10 to $164.90, $164.90. The Part B deductible went from $233 to $226, I believe. Yeah, so let me go to Part B deductible in 2023. Let me tell you guys real quick. 226. Yes, that's correct. So Part B deductible, and that's only applicable for clients that have original Medicare or for you as agents, just to have a comprehension of how Medicare works, right? It's better to be more informed than not. All right, so that is the Medicare side, y'all. So now with that said, I'm going to transition to doing some life stuff, okay? What I need to know is if you have any questions on that stuff with the Medicare side. So if you do it now. If not, we're going to transition to talking about the life side. Give y'all a moment for those that are nervous. Because what I want to talk about next is how can you as an agent make sure, because one big thing is post AEP. I see this all the time. Post AEP agents are they're just, oof, I'm scared, right? I'm scared now. I am scared. I don't know what to do. I haven't sold final expense. I'm not doing it as good as I was doing it, right? So, that's something that you can fall off your horse a little bit, but it is just like getting back on a bike, but you do need to have your presentation and have those steps in mind, right? Just like what we were talking about with goals with the checklist, you have to be checking all those boxes, right? Because if you don't check those boxes, what's going to happen is that you'll miss a step, and then what? Then you'll get an objection, and that objection can cost you a sale. So what I want to talk about is what I've done, right? And how I go through my presentation, my personal presentation, and I want to talk about how to get you back on that horse. So whether or not you're doing it good or you're not doing it good, it doesn't matter. I've sold a lot of insurance in my day. I'm very good at it. So I want to show you guys kind of how I've done it. So it's not going to ever hurt you to go through on our websites, Final Expense Mastery, finalexpenseservices.com. It's never going to hurt you to go through the training again. It's never going to hurt you. The only thing that's going to hurt you is not doing it, not following the steps, not doing what those who are lazy, right, and not successful, right, doing whatever it takes to be successful. Yeah, I don't want to watch videos and learn this stuff, and I don't want to, get really good at this and be the best at it. I don't want to do what it takes to get to that end game because it sucks doing it. You know what? It is what it is. I don't do it for me. I do it for my family in the end of the day. So stop being so selfish and being lazy, right? So, okay. With that said, let's go into presentation. So the first things first, when you get in the home, you're doing some rapport building. I'm very good at rapport building with clients. So when I sit down with a client, I just want to find some common ground. I want to talk to them and see if there's something that they like that I like. I get out of the car, I'm walking to their house, I'm waving. Hey, Miss Mary, how you doing? Appointment or not appointment? If it's a door knock or not, right? It doesn't matter. I treat every single sale the same. So if it's an appointment, it's just a reason for me to know that they're home at that point in time. I still have to sell them on getting in the door. An appointment center is not going to have someone ready with their checkbook as soon as they get there, right? So I got to go into the rapport building phase, and I got to be smiling. I got to be sharp as a tack. I need to be confident, and I need to be an expert in my field. And how do you do that? If you're not an expert, fake it a little bit, smile. At least pretend like you know what you're talking about. With me, when I first got in the industry, I felt like clients knew more about insurance than I did. And you know what? They probably did because they've been around the block. They were older. They bought more insurance. They sat with more insurance agents, and they just knew it, right? They just knew that they were like, hey, I probably know a little bit more about this. But still, the confidence just comes off you. And that's what's the difference maker between a high level producer and someone that's mediocre, is your confidence level, you establishing yourself as an expert. When someone's established as an expert, you don't really question them as much, right? You're like, yeah, I mean, you're pretty dang smart in this, right? So if I walked into the gym and, I'm sitting down with the head coach there, the head instructor of the gym, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I'm just like questioning him as a white belt, like, no, you sure you're supposed to do it this way? Like, that makes no sense. He's the expert. Shut up and listen, right? And it's the confidence that those individuals have. And in that sport, it's different because it'll cause you pain if you get it wrong. This pain associated with this getting it wrong means you don't make money, and that's pretty dang painful too. I don't know if it's as painful as a triangle, but it's pretty damn painful, I'll tell you that much. So I build rapport. I get in the house and I try and find some common ground. How do I do that? First off, I'm going to compliment the client. So I compliment the client how? I'm going to compliment the client by saying, hey, I love that car. What is that? Is that a 70 Chevelle? 66 Chevelle? Whatever it is, right? That's a beautiful car. My father growing up, he loved Chevelles, loved to work on them. He was a shade tree mechanic. I'm sure you know what a shade tree mechanic is. Yep, I was one myself. Boom, I got him right there. Now I found the common ground. We're talking the same lingo. We're friends. It's like, but all right, this person's hooked. They ain't getting out of my atmosphere now. They're in my atmosphere. I'm getting this. I'm getting in that house, and there's a potential sale to be had. So I've found my common ground. I like those. I love those tomatoes. I do not have a green thumb. Anytime I've ever tried to plant anything, turns brown, dies on me. I'm not good at it. Not good at it. Maybe I just don't give it the love that you get. You clearly give a lot of love. Get them smiling, get them laughing, right? When people are laughing and smiling, you're in. You are in. So if it's something as basic as, and sometimes you have people that they don't want to warm up. So you're originally from here? You're from around this area? You're originally from Texas? No, I moved here from so-and-so. Moved here from Minnesota. Dang, that's a cold state. You missed the wintertime? That's going to make them laugh. What person that lives in Texas misses Minnesota winters? If you don't know what a Minnesota winter is, go watch a football game in the middle of winter there. It's pretty dang brutal, right? So trying to get them laughed and find that common ground and bringing them in, okay? That's what you got to start with when you build that rapport, okay? So what's going to happen is then you got to intro yourself. You got to transition to, hey, who I am, why am I here? Okay. So the reason why I'm here, Miss Mary, is because you took time to fill out this little card. You sent it into the benefits center down here, requesting information for the state regulated final expense program. So my job is real simple. What I do is I go ahead and I put together all this information for you. I get it on out to you and I show you what you qualify for. I don't collect any money or anything along those lines. Show you what you qualify for. Open palms. You're not scared of open palms. You're scared of a fist, right? Open palms, no. Okay. So my name's Holden. I work through the state regulated programs as a broker. And I'm sure you probably know like how that works. Some people, they're brokers, and some people call them captive agents. They just work for one company. So it's kind of like fitting a square peg into a round hole. You kind of get what you get. You don't get upset. If you don't get approved and they have to give you the most expensive rate, that's all they can offer you. They can't give you anything different. Whereas with me, I work through the state regulated final expense programs, which has the 15 largest companies in the state all into one program so they can make it easily affordable. Okay. Like I said, I don't collect any money or anything along those lines. I just show you what you qualify. I'm reiterating my point, a very crucial point in the beginning, that I don't collect any money, because a lot of times you can get down to what I say. I was just saying before, which is overcoming an objection before it becomes an objection. Someone might think in their mind that they don't want to choose one of their 3 options that you give them: bronze, silver, gold, 10, 15, 20,000, 80, 100, 120, whatever it is. They might not want to choose one of those options because they think in their mind, I got to pay money today. Do I want to pay money today? Well, the answer is no. So with that said, I move on to the next thing. So now I explain that's basically the difference between an agent and a broker, a captive agent. Job is what to show you. I show you what you qualify for. Does that make sense? So why do I love saying, does that make sense to clients? When I say that to a client, I don't always want to talk, right? So does that make sense? Oh, okay, perfect. It does. Okay, great. And then you can move on to the next thing. They are engaged in the conversation. They're not looking away. They're not watching the TV. I walk into a house. My confidence is high. I'm an expert. I'm sharp as a tack. I walk into the house. TV's on. Hey, do you mind if I'll pick up the remote myself. Boom, let me just mute it. And some people, everyone's raised, not everyone, right? Most people are raised to not do things like that, right? Your first time selling insurance, you're a little scared. Like, what do you mean? You walk into someone's house and you pause the TV, or you mute it, or you turn it off? Yeah, absolutely. I'm confident. You can't do it because you're not. You won't sell at a high level if you don't do that, right? But there's a way to do it. Don't just walk in the house and turn the TV off. Do you mind if we turn this down? I grab the remote. Boom, do it. Done. Problem solved. Okay. Does that make sense? Keeps them engaged. So the 3 reasons phase. So this is something you can, here's the thing with sales. All of us high performers, this is a very alpha business, right? The top of the top, the most elite men and women in the industry are successful, and they use a standardized pitch, but they make it their own. Right? So stick to the guidelines, the sales process. Just imagine as a straight line. Don't deviate too far off that straight line between the open and the close. Okay. So the 3 reasons phase over here is you look at it and say, hey, they usually send this card in for a couple different reasons. So let me ask you a question real quick. Do you have anything in place to protect your family? God forbid, if you were to pass away, pay for like burial expenses, final expenses, or cremation, something like that? Yes, no, pretty simple, right? So if they say yes, that's great. Let's go down that path, right? So how long you had it for? 10 years, perfect. That's a long time. And then what do we always find out when someone says that they had it for 10 years? They had it for 6 months, right? Or they think that they're paying $100 a month, but they're only paying $55 a month, right? So that's a big thing, right? So, and here's the thing, okay? When we get down to this, you have to make sure that we followed step 1 really good, okay, which is the building rapport phase. Because if you don't follow step 1 really good, you get down to the 3 reasons when you've transitioned, and now you're in your presentation, you've transitioned from building rapport, where now they trust you a little bit, pretty good amount, they should trust you. Because when you ask this next question, which is, what company is that one with? If they don't trust you, they're not going to answer. No, I don't tell anyone about that stuff. You did not overcome the objection before it became an objection, and you did not establish yourself as an expert. You didn't build enough rapport. So stop right there, and you go back and you do what's called looping. What is looping? Stop, go back to 1, build rapport. Immediately, where was that common ground, right? So if they don't want to get into it, and you say, what company is that one with? Like, yeah, no, I don't really tell anyone about that or anything along those lines. Like, what, honestly, like, I totally agree. And most of the time, you probably don't, because that's important information. I mean, you pass away and something, like, yeah, you don't want anyone to mess with it or anything along those lines. So you're saying you lived here for about 15 years, right? Man, that's awesome. Did you always live in McKinney, or you lived in like a different city? Yeah, that's cool. So that car you have out there, that Chevelle, were you ever into like the Mustangs, or did you like those Pontiac GTOs too? Or I mean, what was kind of, did you ever have one of those Corvettes, maybe one of those Stingrays? I know we all wanted a Stingray. Or was that just not your thing? You like the Chevy and you like the Chevelle. That was it. Now I'm going back to where I had that common ground, and I looped back. And then once I feel like, hey, maybe I got this person reeled back in. So okay. So you said that you had insurance before. What company did you say that one was with? I tried again, right? That's my second attempt. Now they might be a little bit more, instead of closed arms, open arms. Okay. So that's going to be a really good thing. Whatever company they say, I compliment them always. So think about this from their perspective. Okay. They chose the insurance company. They chose how much they're paying a month. And they probably had an agent that got it for them. If not, they bought it direct to consumer marketing through the mail or something like that. Okay. So never insult them. So let's say, for example, they were like, oh, I have Gerber. Oh, Gerber sucks. That is like, why would you ever say that? And you can just say it, or like facial expressions too. You got to have a strong poker face in this industry. That's a big thing. So another thing that I always like to say with the clients as well, okay, is a compliment to whatever they say. That's a great company. I actually work with them. They're part of the state regulated program. How much are you paying a month? So I'm contracted with a ton of companies. I don't know, dozens of companies, right? I've written business with a lot of different insurance companies. Next year will be my 9th year in the industry. I've seen them, written them. I know not all of them, but I know a pretty dang good amount of them. And there's thousands of insurance companies across the country, and if not more. So the reason why I say I actually work with them is because a lot of times I do, or I have, or I've seen their products so much. I want them to feel like, hey, I'm not here to change anything. I'm not here to mess stuff up for you and make any changes. People might have had someone come in the past and make a change, and it wasn't in their best interest, and it hurt them, and it put them in a bad situation, and they associated pain with it, and they don't want to do it again, right? So we got to make it a very smooth and seamless process with no pain. We take care of everything. There's nothing that you need to do. We handle it all for you. That's our job. That's why we get paid. Okay. Super important. So next question, how much you pay per month? $55. That's awesome. Is that like too expensive, or does that fit well in your budget? And then they're going to say something like, yeah, kind of, a little expensive for me, 55. Okay. Do you think something that was like at like $45, 45 bucks might make a little bit more sense for you? Yeah, honestly, that would probably fit better. Okay, then like shut up and start writing the damn app. Like a question like that is so powerful, because whenever we look at it, clients might like their insurance. They might like their insurance company, but they just can't afford what they have. Or it can go down the other path of it's just not enough. Right? What did we talk about? 8.7% increase with their COLA and their Social Security check from the cost of living adjustment, COLA. Next year, it's going up. That's a huge thing. All right. So with that said, and then I always like to ask them, like, how much insurance do they give you for that $55 a month? $10,000, that's perfect. That's awesome. Now, let me ask you another question. Is that enough to get everything that you want to get done? Or is that kind of not enough? Is 10,000 enough? I know. And the reason why I say that, Miss Mary, is because I'm not pointing like outside. The cost of everything's gone up. It's crazy, right? You got to get like animated, right? The cost of everything's gone up. It's gone up like crazy. I'm sure you know this. And I'm not a political person, but I don't care who's in office. All I care about, Miss Mary, is how much money is coming out of my pocket for the same things that I was buying last year and the same things I was buying yesterday, right? So the dollar just doesn't get you as much as it did 2 years ago, right? 4 years ago. It just doesn't get you as much. And that's the issue. So it's like when I look at that from the perspective, Miss Mary, of like, hey, if I was to pass away today, has any of the cost of anything gone down? So you might have 10,000, let's say, for example. But if you pass away in 20 years and a funeral ends up costing $20,000, your family's still stuck with the bill. And the whole reason that you got the insurance, Miss Mary, Well, so your family wasn't stuck with the bill, because there's two types of burdens that happen, Miss Mary, when someone passes away. The first one, that's an emotional burden. And obviously I can't really help with that. Everyone grieves in their own way, right? When my grandmother passed away, I grieved differently than my own mother did, because that was her daughter. Okay. But the next burden, that's a financial burden. And that I can help with. And that's my responsibility. It's my obligation. That's why they sent me here to help you. So that's why I look at it and say, is that enough to get everything that you want to get done? Right. Does that make sense? Boom, they're engaged. Okay. So then we got to figure out where the policy is, if they got the policy. So a lot of times when companies send people policies in the mail, they put it in the freezer, make them laugh a little bit. Sometimes in a blender or under the kitchen sink, right? Where do you kind of keep your policy? Perfect. You know, can you just go grab that real quick? It'll make it 10 times easier. Put your head down, look at your iPad, look at the lead card. Don't look at your phone. Never have your phone out. All right. So reason 1, reason 2, and reason 3. Okay. So sometimes people have enough insurance, and this is the reasons why people send a card in. Sometimes people have enough insurance, but they know they need a little more, which we already explained. And here's the thing. So I indirectly, and all the stuff I just said, I indirectly just said all of these 3. Okay. But what I'm not doing is I am not saying these like a robot. Reason 1, sometimes people have enough insurance, but no, they need a little more. Reason 2, sometimes people have no. It's the way that I say it. It's like your storytelling. Do you like watching bad movies? No one does. Do you like watching good movies with a good storyline, a good plot, good actors? Absolutely. There's some great movies. You're telling a story. All right. So asking these questions directly may have the adverse effect. You are doing the fact finding to find the problem and be the solution. The bigger the problem, the larger the commission check. Next is going to be a term versus whole life description. So what is term? What is whole life? How does it work? Right? So term, Miss Mary, term is short for terminates. And I ask them, do you know the difference between the two? Do you know the difference between the two? Yeah, I do. No, I don't. Well, term is short for terminates. Basically what happens is you have the policy. It's kind of like you're renting the policy. You have it for 10, 15, 20 years, however long you have it for. And once it ends, it's done. That's it. And you don't get any of the money back that you paid into it all those years. And that's fine, because those policies have a specific purpose. People have them for a reason. There's a specific reason why people have those policies. And those policies are for people at a younger age who just got a home, or they got some student loan debt and they don't want their spouse to be stuck with it. God forbid if they passed away, right? And they got $500,000 in money that they owe, right? Between banks and all the student loan creditors and all that stuff, right? So they have to do it. And as we get older, we want more certainty in life. So there's the other option which people have, which is called the whole life. The whole life is exactly what it sounds like. It lasts your whole life. Okay. No matter how old you get or how sick you get, the amount you pay per month never goes up. The amount of insurance you have never goes down, and it lasts your whole life. And if you ever forget the difference between the two, Miss Mary, just remember the name. Term, short for terminates. Whole life lasts your whole life. It's always there. We also call it permanent coverage. Whole life is permanent coverage. So there you go. So that's the description of term and whole life. And then you'll then go to the underwriting phase where you ask your key questions. You ever had any cancer, ever had a heart attack or stroke, any liver or kidney disease? Do you have COPD or been prescribed any inhalers? And then I go beyond the inhalers and I ask them, Spiriva, Brio, Anora, or Trilogy Ellipta, ever been prescribed nitro, isosorbide, any HIV or AIDS? The meds will usually do the talking there, but doesn't always hurt to ask. Sometimes it's an awkward question. I get it. Look at the medications. Those will always help you from asking those. Like, for example, someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, they don't want to really, mention that. And sometimes, as we know, with mental health, there's a big stigma on that stuff. So people don't want to talk about bipolar or schizophrenia. So you let the drugs do the talking. Okay. So I ask my key questions, but there's certain ones that, might be a little iffy. And then you'll transition to the quote. Okay. And you'll transition to the close there. All right. So that is the presentation. So with that said, I'm going to stop share right here. All that stuff's on my website too, by the way. There's a whole video, and this, like I said, this is always recorded and it's clipped, and I'll send it on out to you. But all that stuff is on my website as well. So you have access to all that. You can watch the videos, take time to go through the training again, right? Maybe you're doing a good job, or maybe you're struggling a little bit and there's some stuff that you want to do better. Okay. Do better. So, and there's a lot of different nuances to this business. I'm always learning. I learn all the time, and I always want to get better. So with that said, does anyone have any questions before we hop off this call this evening? And if you do, if you didn't send me your goals, right, but you're a little nervous, you don't want to send them, you're a little shy, whatever it is, just send them on over to me. Who cares? Right? If I have my goals from 2017. I look at my goals all the time. I like to look at them from 2017 because I think they're funny. It's like make $10,000 in a month. $10,000. I thought that was a lot of money back then. And you know what? That is a lot of money. $10,000 is a lot of money. But once you hit that goal, you realize I should have added another zero to that. Every single thing that you write on your goals list, you should add another zero to it. I want to write 50 Medicare policies. Now you want to get 500. Add a zero. Stop thinking smaller, think bigger, and do whatever it takes to get there. Scott, go ahead, buddy.
I just kind of want to put in a plug about, it seems like we go over these really basic stuff all the time. I was a basketball coach for many, many years. And one of the things you know in basketball, even an NFL player who's been playing many, many years and is professional, they always go back to the basics, always go back to the basics all the time. If you stay with the basics, you're always making sure you're sharp and you're doing what you're supposed to. We tend to think, oh, well, I've heard that over and over and over, but go back, review those videos, do it again. That's why Ben goes over it every day. You just have to go back to the basics all the time.
Completely agree. Every single warm up, Michael Jordan would start with the most basic thing in basketball, chest pass. The most basic thing. Whatever you're doing, if it's martial arts or any sport, you're going to warm up with the basics, right? So all sports have that, right? You start with the basics. That's how you warm up. When you go and you're playing basketball, are you going to start off with your 3-point shots, or are you going to start off with layups, right? Got to start off and then build out. So, and always work on that game. That's every single time that you practice, you work on your craft, you get better at your craft. All right. So does anyone else have any questions? All right. I appreciate everyone. Thank you for joining. If you guys need anything, reach out to me. You want to send me the goals, let me know. If you're not on my email list, you want to get on my email list, shoot me a text. You just go directly to my website, Final Expense Mastery, mastery.com. Go in the group chat, get my contact information, shoot me a text, email, whatever it is, and we'll get connected. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.